Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge news. NBC News. Elon Musk says he and Trump are shutting down USAID. In a couple of seconds, you will hear from the Secretary of State. You'll hear from Elon Musk. And you'll hear exactly why the USAID department is being shut down. Associated Press. Democrats push back after Musk says Trump agrees to close USAID. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Be here for the live stream this evening. You'll hear in a couple of seconds exactly from Elon Musk and Secretary of State Marco Rubio why this is taking place. Number one, it's perfectly legal. Anyone who says this is illegal does not know a thing about the Constitution. The opening line of Article 2, Section 1 of the United States Constitution is the following. The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. Right here, the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. The executive branch is run by the President of the United States of America. USAID is a part of the State Department. The State Department, like the Federal Bureau of Investigation, like the Department of Justice, like the Pentagon, is part of the executive branch. Trump and the head of Doge, Elon Musk, if the president allows, can shut down, fire, terminate the employment of anyone they want. It's in the United States Constitution. You can read right here, okay? The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. The State Department, which oversees USAID, is part of the executive branch. Now, Representative Jason Chaffetz, this is the Washington Times article from 2014, questions $175 million USAID slush fund. Another article, slush fund, USAID under scrutiny for paying Afghan other governments to pass laws. This is a Miami Herald article. USAID pushes back against Maduro's claim of a slush fund for his political rival. The USAID does a lot of good things. The problem, however, is that it has been, unfortunately, it has been utilized by the Democratic Party in particular, the past 20 years, of pushing, essentially bribing people in other countries to adopt their foreign policy for foreign aid. So when Democrats give you the usual sob story, there's some truth to it. It does good things. USAID does good things. But there's always a carrot and a stick, or there's an incentive, not just an incentive. You are pressuring. You are it's an altruistic form of blackmail in a way. And what they do, Democrats and never Trump Republicans or the traditional American political establishment, they say, well, we'll give you hundreds of millions of dollars here and there. You better adopt our foreign policy. You better adopt our values. You better adopt our policies, domestic policies, foreign policy, whatever we tell you to do, you better abide by, or else you won't get the USAID support that helps your populace, that helps your citizenry. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. You'll hear Marco Rubio right this second.
I'll take a couple of questions because we're off schedule already. But
tell us about USAID, what's happening with USAID, and how that affects the country.
Well, look, I mean, my frustration with USAID goes back to my time in Congress. It's a completely unresponsive agency. It's supposed to respond to policy directives of the State Department, and it refuses to do so. So the functions of USAID, there are a lot of functions of USAID that are going to continue, that are going to be part of American foreign policy, but it has to be aligned with American foreign policy. I said very clearly during my confirmation hearing that every dollar we spend and every program we fund, that will be aligned with the national interest of the United States. And USAID has a history of sort of ignoring that and deciding that there's somehow a global charity separate from the national interest. These are taxpayer dollars.
It's not a global charity, and whereas USAID does very good things, that's true, if it is not directly aligned with the foreign policy of the president that's been duly elected at the moment, there's no reason for U.S. taxpayer dollars to serve as an extension or an extension or some kind of government agency that tries to further the political or foreign policy or domestic objectives of a rival political party. In this case, there's very likely a whole lot of money being sent around the world to further the foreign policy espoused by the Democratic Party. So you have slush funds potentially, and you're talking about $40+ billion in terms of a budget. Last I read, it was like a $40+ billion budget every year. And so if it's unresponsive, like Secretary of State Marco Rubio has explained, if it doesn't give Congress all the information pertaining to where this money is going, so you can have, let's say, $20 million going to something worthwhile, wonderful, that helps, people within a certain country. 5 million of that allocated money could be going to a slush fund, could be going to try to pressure certain political groups within that country to abide by Democratic Party foreign policy or Republican Party foreign policy. There has to be a specific political or foreign policy reason for money to go for foreign aid to go to a specific country. If that country engages in, let's say, there are organizations within that country engaging in criminal behavior around the world, internationally, they should not be getting U.S. taxpayer dollars. That's the whole point here. That's what Jason Chaffetz was talking about 11 years ago. Let's continue with the Secretary of State. And the USAID falls under the State Department, which falls under the executive branch, which the Constitution clearly states is controlled and run by the President of the United States of America. Nothing is illegal about this, okay? There is no constitutional right to have a government agency run forever.
And so I'm very troubled by these reports that they've been unwilling to cooperate with people who are asking simple questions about what does this program do, who gets the money, who are our contractors, who's funded, and that sort of level of insubordination makes it impossible to conduct the sort of mature and serious review that I think foreign aid writ large should have. We're spending taxpayer money here. These are not donor dollars, these are taxpayer dollars, and we owe the American people the assurances that every dollar we are spending abroad is being spent on something that furthers our national interest. And so far, a lot of the people that work at USAID have just simply refused to cooperate.
Are you currently in charge of USAID? Or are you
I'm the acting director of USAID. I've delegated that authority to someone, but I stay in touch with him. And again, our goal was to go in and align our foreign aid to the national interest. But if you go to mission after mission and embassy after embassy around the world, you will often find that in many cases, USAID is involved in programs that run counter to what we're trying to do in our national strategy with that country or with that region.
There are departments within the United Nations that allegedly have been tied to organizations that commit human rights violations. We'll leave it at that. The word starts with a T. But you have these altruistic, the way the Democratic Party and, never Trump Republicans or the Republican Party before Trump, the way the American political establishment works is the following. Oh my God, we're doing such amazing things around the world with this government agency. Okay, that's good. Is the government agency aligned with the U.S. national interest? These are taxpayer dollars, like the Secretary of State Rubio stated. They're not donor dollars. They're not charity dollars. They're not the USAID is not a global charity. It's paid for by U.S. taxpayer dollars. That's why even if it does amazing things around the world, those amazing things cannot be tied to, for example, Biden's foreign policy, Democratic Party foreign policy, Bush's foreign policy, Republican foreign policy of 20 plus years ago. Trump as president has to align with the national interest under the current administration. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Be here for tonight for the live stream. Thank you. If you want to give a super thanks is below. Thank you.